the beginning of 2016, a lot of us thought we've got to celebrate James Brindley's 300th year and the 250th anniversary of the start of the Trent and Mersey Canal. It defined Stoke, it transformed Stoke, it transformed the whole country. And Heritage Lottery Fund supported us. They're very keen on legacy. Normally legacy products, you have to go and spend your time in museums and libraries. With James Brindley, his legacy's right here surrounding us. You can hear the noise, the water's running, the canal's still working, the locks are still working, they're still transporting boats up and down the country. He started off this network that covers the country from the south of England right up, including Scotland. It's just incredible. You can hear the water running, you can see it happening right here and now, and this is surely worth celebrating, we felt. We decided to include lots of music because a lot of musicians around in Stoke-on-Trent are interested perhaps in the old days and indeed in the future. They're regenerators among musicians, we've got visual artists, and a great number of people wanted to get on board this project, and I'll just mention a few of them who got aboard. We had Duncan Bourne, who writes songs about the old days and loves dressing up, so he's been reenacting as James Brindley in events throughout the city this year. Another person involved from the start was Ray Johnson, who runs the film archives in Staffordshire and is also a notable performer in his own right. He has his own show about James Brindley, which he performed throughout the city this year, enacting Josiah Wedgwood in his own show on the subject, celebrating the friendship of Wedgwood with James Brindley, who was also enacted by Duncan Bourne. We needed new material as well as old songs, so we decided to go into schools. We went into Etruria, we went into Cheddleton, we went into Penkle, all places associated with Brindley's legacy, and we worked with the kids there, writing lyrics for new songs celebrating the canals and James Brindley, which was a fabulous project and really illuminated the city's current attitude to the great pioneer. We needed material for the musical show, and the children were involved in writing lyrics for songs. And we stimulated the imagination by showing them images of the canals in the old days, the new days. And I was working with Kate Barfield, musician and designer, on this with the children. And one image that really inspired them, I showed them an old picture of Kate Barfield back in the 1980s and her mother Pam Barfield on a boat back in the 1980s. And then I said, do you recognise anybody in these pictures in the room? And when they realised they were talking to Kate Barfield, somehow the old days and the new days became nicely enmeshed in their minds, and this really stimulated people. Pam Barfield, the great boat painter and musician who's also been involved in the shows we've been doing all year, and Kate Barfield directing the choirs and working on the visual side of things. And another aspect of the canals the children were obviously interested in was wildlife, because these ribbons of water going through the city are really important to people. So things like kingfishers and pike and other fish, and the bird life, the wildlife in general, really excite people. It makes a great contrast too to the more classic images, the bottle ovens, the Middleport potteries and so on. The twin images of the canal, the rural idyll and the bustling industry. The children fully understood this and entered into the spirit of the show altogether. Of course, canals nowadays are very leisurely things, but we have to remember that the purpose of the canals was the industry that they supported. They revolutionised Stoke-on-Trent. Spode and Wedgwood, international names, put their factories absolutely slap beside the canal. That's what made the whole thing work. That's what made the Industrial Revolution work. So remember, Spode, Wedgwood, Brindley. These are the three names, perhaps, that show exactly what was going on in those days. Another man who made contributions was the boat builder Malcolm Webster, who also runs the great Steamhead band, who brought their music to Middleport Pottery this year to celebrate Brindley, and many trips through the middle of Stoke-on-Trent on Malcolm Webster and Pam Barfield's boat Prince have illuminated the whole attitude of people here to Stoke-on-Trent and the canal legacy. The people involved with this project have all had multiple interests. We've had boat builders who are also musicians. We've also had Dean Brindley aboard, who is a great designer, and indeed he designed a poster for the Floating on Brindley's Dream show, and he sung in the show, and he writes songs and poems himself. So Dean is an example of the person who really assisted this project, and perhaps even more than any other way, Dean has a remarkable library of old books about Stoke-on-Trent. So he is the man to have aboard any project round here. Here I am standing by the physical legacy of Brindley. I'm right smack here between the locks on the canal and the railways that replaced them, and a road with a car going past, quite loud. Here we have transport surrounding us, the living legacy of what these people did. But we've also had the backup of documentation. We've had Victoria Owens working with us, the biographer of Brindley, and she has just illuminated everything we have done with actual hard facts of what happened in the old days, so thanks to Victoria Owens indeed. The whole core of Floating on Brindley's Dreams, the musical entertainment, was 3 choirs, all run by Kate Barfield. The Village Voices, they're a Singing for Lung Health group, wonderful group of people, come together because they're poorly, and yet here they are with great vibrant energy contributing to Stoke-on-Trent cultural life. We've got the Loudmouth Women, we've got the Clay Chorus. These groups have all contributed to the making of the show, rehearsing the material, trying it out, contributing lyrics, and of course you'll see all 3 choirs in full flood actually when we look at the video of the show. This project has been a canal project, and of course we need our own transport monitors. Andrew and Elizabeth Watts and the Etruria boat group have been providing backup for everything with their wonderful old boats, Lindsay and Keppel. They've been transporting people up and down the Trent and Mersey Canal, transporting musicians, transporting volunteers. They've run workshops with children on the boats. They've been an integral part of the project from beginning to end. Another important bit of performance that's come up this year to do with Brindley has been this year's Penkle Mystery Plays, which is a community drama project, and this year it did the history of the River Trent, and including a great deal of Brindley as the man with the mills and the man with the canals. And Kate Barfield, the designer, came up with this extraordinary image of the head of Trent, which dominated the whole show. And for the Mystery Plays, Kate Barfield ran canal art workshops based on the inspiration of her mum's wonderful Rose and Castles paintings, and people learnt the intricacies of how to paint roses the canal way, which were crucial to the whole Mysteries show. Another person involved is Christine Malaban Brown. She paints the sceneries for the Mystery Plays. She combined with Kate Barfield to do the big paintings of the River Trent for the Venturi project. And most important, she's doing this lovely series of miniature paintings which we're going to use in the James Brindley Heritage Trail. And last but not least, she sings in the Clay Chorus. What's not to like? The songwriter Claire Brennan's been involved as well. She contributed a wonderful song on the subject of the River Trent, which quite inspired the Mystery Plays this year and fed into all that we were doing, just the lovely idyll in her song of picnicking by the River Trent. And she was also involved in painting the project as well, so thanks a lot to Claire.
That was the Stoke Hornpipe, an old fiddle tune from James Brindley's era, the 18th century, the age of enlightenment, when the new men started flexing their muscles, inventing stuff, taking over the reins of commerce. Anything was possible. James Brindley occupies part of that gritty northern trouble at mill, that part of development of the national psyche. But his work and legacy took him far beyond that. Oh yes, he cut his teeth on the mills and the mines of the Trent, the Churnet, the Mersey, the Irwell. Coal, clay, cotton, and the cut were his stock in trade. But his dreams took him further. And he was soon familiar with the Thames, the Severn, the sea. And those who float on his dreams today no longer trade in the raw materials of the 18th century revolution. Kenneth Grahame, that man of the Thames, spells it out for us today, putting the thought into the mouth of the immortal Ratty in Wind in the Willows. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, half so much worth doing as simply messing about in boats. And we can mess about in boats now, in part because Brindley gave us a lot of water to do it on. Thousands of miles of it. Chatting on a bit about James Brindley, but maybe not all of you know who he is or was. Well, if you want to know everything about him, you have to read the many, many books about the Industrial Revolution, or about canal history, or the many actual biographies of Brindley. Or you could try Wikipedia, or the TV. Now, there's been plenty of programs about Brindley just recently. But for the very basic facts, here we go. James Brindley, born at Wormhill near Buxton in Derbyshire 300 years ago in 1716. Birthday, unknown. Moved to Macclesfield and was apprenticed to a millwright. Oh, that means he learned how to make and mend mills, or everything about them, windmills, water mills, and that's what he did when he set himself up, based in Leek and in Burslem. He worked all over North Staffordshire, Cheshire and Lancashire. And to make water mills work, you need water. So he learned how to handle it, move it, channel it, make it do his bidding. He used water power to pump water. He could make it do tricks. And the Duke of Bridgewater decided he wanted a canal to move his coal from the mines in Manchester into Worsley, or shall I say from Worsley into Manchester. Now, Brindley was in the right place at the right time. Brindley was the man who could make water run uphill, the man who could make water loop round under itself and pump out mines. Brindley got on the job and surveyed the canal route. But he ran up against the River Irwell in a deep valley. Now what to do? No problem. Let's fly the canal over the river in an aqueduct. Had he ever built one before? No. Does he know anyone else who has built one? No. But he built one. He had a go, and he did it. Yeah, but I'm rabbiting on a bit, so let's have a song, and of course about James Brindley. Oh, this one is written by Jeff Parton and Ken Whitmore, first performed at the Old Theatre in the Round, Victoria Theatre in the Round, Hartshill, in a show called Wizards All.
James Brindley was an engineer who laboured all his days and killed himself through overwork constructing waterways. He was a rough and simple man, as simple as you please. They say he never drew a plan, except with chalk and cheese. Chalk and cheese, he worked with chalk and cheese. Tunnels, sluices, pumps and mills, harnessing the breeze. Bridges, aqueducts and locks, he mastered all of these, and blazed a trail through swamps and rocks, using chalk and cheese. They asked him down to Parliament to show how cuts were done. He rolled a great big cheese out and he put it on the rug. I'll call my plan in this, he said, kind masters, if you please. They told him he could go ahead, convinced by chalk and cheese. Chalk and cheese, he worked with chalk and cheese. Tunnels, sluices, pumps and mills, harnessing the breeze. Bridges, aqueducts and locks, he mastered all of these, and blazed a trail through swamps and rocks, using chalk and cheese. They called him to the House of Lords. He said, I cannot talk. Give hand to roll this carpet back and pass that bit of chalk. And when he scribbled on the floor, their lordships all agrees. We thinks we understand you more because of chalk and cheese. Chalk and cheese, he